This map shows the reach of the tremors as they expanded outward from the epicenter in northern South America. The shocks were powerful enough to be felt in Bogotá, Colombia, and triggered emergency evacuations in cities deep within the Brazilian Amazon. Within Venezuela itself, the consequences were severe. Early estimates suggested the death toll could range anywhere from 10,000 to 100,000 people. To see why the destruction reached this scale, we have to look at the landscape. Caracas is a dense, highly populated urban center built directly against steep, mountainous terrain. At street level, the risks are even more apparent. The city's core is packed with tall, mid-century buildings and infrastructure that were never designed for a shock of this magnitude. While Venezuela sits on a highly active tectonic boundary, witnessing 1,000 quakes in magnitude 4 or higher in the last decade, the level of damage from this specific event was an outlier. The records from the U.S. Geological Survey show that this was a complex interaction. It wasn't a standard isolated earthquake, but a high-speed sequence that moved too fast for the city's standard safety protocols to handle. The problem begins where the Caribbean and South American tectonic plates meet. This diagram shows the specific mechanism, a strike-slip fault. Here, two massive rock blocks slide horizontally past one another. Friction holds them until stress becomes too great. When they finally slip, they release decades of built-up energy in a single horizontal burst. This specific quake had a second, more dangerous characteristic. It was incredibly shallow, occurring just 10 kilometers below the surface. Quakes happening deep in the earth have their energy absorbed by rock layers before reaching us. At only 10 kilometers, the shockwaves hit the surface with their full, unmitigated force. While that initial shallow shock was devastating, it turned out to be the setup for a much larger event that arrived just 39 seconds later. In a typical scenario, a magnitude 7.2 earthquake would be the main event. Here, it was only a foreshock. The USGS classified this as a seismic doublet. 39 seconds later, a larger 7.5 magnitude shock struck the exact location. This is different from expected aftershocks, which are smaller and later. These were two major quakes happening almost simultaneously. A study in the journal Nature Geoscience found that these back-to-back shocks prolong the duration of the most intense ground shaking, giving structures no time to recover. During the first shock, the internal frame of a building often fractures. It might stay standing, but its ability to support its own weight is critically compromised. Faster, more urgent tone. Before the dust can settle, the 7.5 magnitude shock hits. It strikes weakened columns, causing the structure to buckle and pancake downward. This sequence ensures damage that might be survivable in a single quake becomes a total collapse, trapping those inside before they have a chance to reach the street. This isn't an isolated incident. This specific geologic sequence is a documented threat that has appeared all over the world. In 2023, a doublet of magnitude 7.8 and 7.7 struck Turkey and Syria. The back-to-back shocks affected 14 million people and left entire cities in rubble. Similar events have been recorded in the Indian Ocean in 2021 and in Australia in 1988, where 3 quakes hit within just 30 minutes of each other. These events changed the rules for survival. The standard advice to wait out a main shock doesn't account for a complex rupture where a second, larger strike is seconds away. The destruction in Venezuela serves as a warning. For cities in seismic zones, it means reinventing how we engineer our buildings and plan our responses for a world where the Earth can strike twice.